Hello everyone. In this video, we'll be looking at a couple of demos on how to use a Chrome plugin with agentic AI properties. So what kind of agent do we want? The agent should be able to query an LLM, process its results, and once again query the LLM based on these past results. A classic example of this is the Cursor IDE because it has its own agentic AI. How about we make a very lightweight version of an IDE such as Cursor and use Gemini to drive the agent? And it would kind of be like the movie Inception, where we are using an agentic IDE such as Cursor to make another agentic IDE which will run from the browser. So what can the capabilities of this IDE be? It, in the very minimum, it should have an editor, a terminal, and a chat tab with Gemini. We won't be supporting a full-blown OS terminal because that's clearly not feasible to do so from the Chrome browser, and it lies beyond the scope of a small demo. Then we want to store the files in memory in the plugin, and it would also be good to support exporting the files as a zip folder. We then want our plugin to connect to an online Python IDE such as Replit to support running Python code. In this particular demo, we'll be connecting to the free online Python IDE known as Python Tutor. Then we also want to add prompts for Gemini so that it can basically use the features that the plugin has, the capabilities that the plugin has. And finally, we would also want to save the logs of the prompts and responses which actually happen behind the scenes with Gemini. So this is how the basic file system that we created looked like. You can see that we are able to do an ls or a cat on the files, and this is how the files would be stored in Chrome's local extension storage. It kind of seems like a key value pair where the name of the file, so where we have the name of the file and the text within the file is stored as a string. And as I mentioned before, we also want to be able to export the files that we create in this plugin. Yeah, so we made use of a zip library to support that. And here I asked the Cursor IDE to enable calling online APIs for running Python code, and we have given multiple options such as Replit and Python Tutor for it. And this is an example of a Python execution in the terminal. So see, the plugin is able to run, so the plugin is made out of JavaScript code, but we want to be able to run Python code. So it is convenient to make use of an online IDE. So behind the scenes, the plugin makes a call to an online Python interpreter and it passes the code to it and it executes the code on that. And finally, we want the Gemini LLM to function like an agent. So for that, we need to provide it with some custom prompt or custom instruction set that you can see over here. We have given it some knowledge about what actions it can perform, such as create file, update file, or analyze Python result. We are also logging the responses from the interaction that we have with the Gemini prompt. And finally, we also want to support multi-step capability so that the AI assistant functions more like an agent. And therefore, we need a way to communicate, we need a way for the LLM to communicate with the tool using a pre-agreed upon communication language, and that would be uh, a JSON format that the LLM will send its output in. So you can see the response from the LLM would come in this format, and our tool would be able to parse this, and it would be able to perform certain actions such as create a Python file or run a Python file, and then the output of that execution is sent back to the LLM, and the past context is also provided to it. So this is how the LLM would be able to function like an agent. Important to note over here is the chain action flag in the response. So if this is true, it signifies that there are more actions to be performed, so that control can go back and forth between the LLM and the plugin tool. So a bit of the code as well. So as you can see, if chain action is false, then we signify that it signifies that the action is complete. So let's go and look at a couple of demos next. In this demo, let us ask our Light Agent IDE to create a Chrome plugin for us. So it's again another inception idea where we are using a Chrome plugin to create another Chrome plugin. So let me ask that to it. Let us create a Chrome plugin that allows us to play Snake in the plugin. We do not need any fancy icons or images, just a basic gameplay. So no need to create icon.png etc. in the manifest file. Can you create the other files? Okay, so it has created all the files. Is it ready to try it out? Let me first try it. So these are the files. Let's export it. And then I'll add this extension. Right, so we can see the game. Let's load it again. Okay, so I'll ask the agent to make some changes to it. But I am not able to move a snake. Keyboard control using the arrow keys, and also food respawning, also scoring system, and also game over sign. Okay, so we have updated the files. So let's export them again and load. So I'll load the game again. Let's try to play it. See, so there is like a good we are able to move the snake around. It's very minimalistic, but we are just trying to see the capabilities of our plugin. So we were able to increase the score. The food is respawning. Yeah, it's pretty playable at this moment. And let's try to do a game over. Cool. let's try to analyze the logs. So let's see what the logs show, because that's more interesting, how the Gemini agent was able to create a game and respond to our feedback to it. So I'm going to just do a display of the file. Log files of the actual conversation that happened with Gemini. As you can see, we have this JSON format over here, the raw response, and it is listing the action. So this is agentic behavior, right? So this create file, and initially did not create the other files, and then there were more create file actions, and I tried it out. I tried the game out and I gave it some feedback, and it modified those files again. I hope you like this demo. Thank you. Okay, let's test our LLM for multi-step capability. So I'm asking it to generate two files, one to heap sort a list of numbers, the other to merge sort a list of numbers. Then, based on running a random number generator script, I am asking it to either execute the merge sort file or the heap sort file, depending on whether the random number was odd or even. Let's test this out. As you can see, it listed a bunch of actions over here. First it created the heap sort file, then the merge sort file, then it generated a random number 83, and because it was odd, it ran the merge sort file. Let's look at the terminal to see the files generated, and you can see there's the heap sort file, the merge sort file, and the random number py.file. So there's code for heap sort over here. There's code for merge sort, and also let's look at the log to see the actual prompts. See, this is the actual JSON prompt. The prompts consist of JSON format. So raw response, right? So this is the JSON format which we had provided to the LLM in the initial prompts, and it is able to use that to perform multiple actions. You can see first it created the heap sort file and it said chain action true. Then it did the same with the merge sort file. Then it ran the random number file with chain action true, and then this is the part where the output of the Python run was analyzed by the LLM using its natural language capabilities. So we have this analysis instructions, and it realized that the number is odd, and therefore it performed a merge sort in the end. See, so it ran the file eventually with the merge sort, and also displayed the output. And now for some final remarks. In the first demo, our LLM could perform multiple actions, but because the plugin did not have support to load other plugins or save files anywhere on the host computer, we had to manually intervene and install the snake game that we had created. In the second demo, the LLM had more capability. We could chain together multiple actions such as create file, run Python file, and analyze the output. For analyzing the output and then running another file conditionally, the LLM had to take into consideration the context of the previous actions that it performed. And the LLM and the plugin coordinated using a pre-agreed upon JSON format. Thus, we were able to mimic some of the agentic features of an IDE such as cursor. This can be further extended by adding the capability to extract text from a given web page, and we can use it to solve programming problems on websites such as LeetCode. And finally, because it was lightweight, this plugin can be used from this IDE can be used from within a browser, and it was fun to make this. Thank you.